Hello students. So as we have discussed in the last class, we'll be starting with our first lecture, which is deriving equation of motion for a single degree of freedom system. Okay, so we have drawn a single degree of freedom system in the last class. Okay, so in which there was a mass block as I'm drawing over here, and then that mass block was attached to the wall by using a spring. Okay, so this is a spring, one end of which is attached to the mass and the other end of which is over here attached to the wall. Okay. Spring has got a stiffness equal to K, and this is a mass block which is resting on, let's say, roller supports on the ground. Okay, now this mass is not free to move, but it has got a constraint coming from the spring. Okay, so since spring is attached to the wall, spring is trying to pull this mass block when it tries to go away, whereas when the mass block moves in this direction, when it tries to compress the spring will ensure that it is pushing the mass back. Okay, so this is the system, and as we have discussed in the last class, this is a very representative system. Okay, it can represent any realistic system. Okay, so something like this, which is a pendulum, something like this, which is a beam, okay, attached to a fixed end. Okay, so it can either be this or any other system. So for example, you can even approximate a washing machine in this fashion. Okay, a mass and a spring, a simple spring. This is the most crude approximation that you'll be doing for it, but essentially there is no any harm in beginning with such kind of approximation. So this is the system which is a representative of many such realistic system, and our job is to derive equation of motion for this mass block, okay, which is attached to the spring in this fashion. Okay, so now assume that you are disturbing this mass block from its mean position. Now the mass block is in mean position, that is mass block right now is in equilibrium. Okay, so it is resting as is. Okay, so there is no any change in this mass block's position, velocity or acceleration. Okay, so it is where it is. So now assume that you disturb it, either you give some initial velocity or you give some initial displacement. So let's start with the initial displacement. So let's assume that you are displacing this mass block in this sense, and then you leave it. Okay, so once you leave this mass block from this end, what will happen is that mass block will try to come back to its equilibrium position, then it will shoot towards the other side, which is the other extremity. Then from that other extremity it will again come to the mean position, will go back to the previous extremity on this end, again go back, and from this extremity will return. Okay, so it's like it will keep on carrying out this to and fro motion about this mean position. Okay, so mass will be saying that this mass block is vibrating. Okay, so our job is to derive equation which governs the motion of this mass. Okay, so in order to do that, let's first of all try to see what is the sign convention, okay, for the displacement, velocities and acceleration. Okay, so we'll be assuming, so first of all let's consider that x is positive, x which is the position vector is positive in this direction and which is negative in this direction. Okay, so this x will tell you where the mass is, and it will always be measuring with respect to this mean position. Okay, so a reference of the x is attached over here. Okay, so with respect to this, where the mass is in any state, okay, at any, so let's say that while mass is performing this oscillatory motion, you are taking certain snapshots. Okay, so at certain time mass will be over here, at some other time mass will be over here, at some time it will be over here somewhere. Okay, so in all those cases, so we'll be measuring x with respect to the mean position. Okay, we'll be saying that that's what is the displacement. Okay, so we are measuring displacement with respect to the mean position. Okay, so either you call it that as u or that as x is identical in this case. Okay, so I will be calling it as a x because u is x itself. Okay, so whatever is the x, that is going to be the u, because reference of u is the mean position. Okay, Now for the velocity, when the velocity is in this direction, that is in the positive x direction, that will be treated as positive. When velocity will be in this direction, it will be treated as negative. Okay, this is for velocity, and same is true for acceleration. Okay, acceleration which is in this direction will be treated as positive, and it is in this direction that will be treated as negative. Okay, so either it is a velocity or acceleration, they are following the same sign convention, and displacement, they are positive from this reference point, okay, towards this direction, okay, and they are negative from this reference point in this direction. Okay, so now with this you are ready for deriving equation of motion for this mass block. Okay, so in order to derive that, what we'll be doing is, let me first of all draw the system once again. Okay, so this is the system. Okay, this was the mean position, and let me draw the mass block in the deformed position. Okay, so in this oscillatory motion, let's say that mass is somewhere over here at that instance. When mass is, it can occupy this position while going from the mean position towards this extremity, or it can be at this position while returning back from that extremity and while it is coming back to the mean position. So it can occupy this position either in this, when it is moving in this way, or it is moving in this way. Okay, and in all these cases its displacement will be treating it as positive, and that this much will be the displacement. Okay, so this much will be the displacement because we are measuring it with respect to the mean position. So this is the displacement. Okay, and as I have said, it can occupy this position either while going in this way or while coming back from here. Okay, so now in this condition, so let's try to see what the free body diagram of that mass block looks like. Okay, so that generally while deriving the equation of motion, we try to draw free body diagram. That kind of helps us to know what are the forces which are acting on that system, and that helps you to write down the force balance, and which will help you to eventually write down what is the equilibrium equation of it. Okay, that equation which governs the motion of it. Okay, so now this is the mass block. So what are the forces which are acting onto it? There is no any friction force acting at this end, and there is no any external force. Okay, this is the assumption that we are starting with no external forcing. We will be seeing what happens when the external force is there. Okay, so you are not giving any external force. Okay, but you have only disturbed it in the beginning. Okay, so as we have seen, so in the beginning you pulled this mass at this end and left it. Okay, so you are kind of pulling it, and once it gets settled over there, then you leave it and then let it follow that oscillatory path. Okay, so what you are going to give is the initial condition, but no any forcing, no any external forcing is acting onto it. The mass is performing oscillatory motion because of the initial condition that you have given. Okay, so these things will be ready, clear to you when you will see the solution. Okay, so we'll try to understand how exactly the mass will perform this oscillatory motion by giving initial condition once we know the solution. Okay, so let's try to see what are the forces acting onto it. So as we have said, there is no any external force acting onto it, there is no any frictional force acting onto it. The only force which acts on this mass as of now is a force which is given by the spring. Okay, so in this condition, when you are displacing this mass in this way, okay, that is towards the positive x side. Okay, so that time, so the force which is acting onto it is Fs, and which is towards the mean position. Now it is very important for you to know that, as I already have said, that this position mass can occupy when it is going from the mean position towards the extremity, and at the same time when it is coming from the extremity towards the mean position. Okay, so it can be there at that position either while this journey or while carrying out this journey. Okay, in both these cases, spring force is always going to act in this direction because x is this way. Okay, but as of now, let's try to keep it away. Spring force, let's say that it is having any direction. Okay, so I'll be writing down that what are the forces acting onto it. Force acting on the mass is Fs. Okay, Fs can have any direction. Okay, so the Fs that I am writing over here is essentially a vector quantity. It can be positive or negative. It can take care of both these values. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that as of now. Okay, so this is the force as I have told you, and now you know that since this is the only force, so it is unbalanced, and if it is an unbalanced force which is acting on the mass, then obviously you are anticipating that the mass will accelerate. Okay, so there will be an acceleration. That acceleration will be proportional to Fs. It will be in the direction of Fs, and proportionality constant will be the mass itself. Okay, so Fs is going to be equal to m times a. Okay, or a is equal to Fs by m. Whatever will be the acceleration, that will be function of what is Fs, and that will be determined by what is m. Okay, so and as this tells you is that direction of a and Fs is same. Okay, so equation that we are left with is Fs is equal to ma. Okay, now once you know that Fs is equal to ma, you can write down this equation as Fs minus ma equal to 0. Okay, so what is the equation that we have derived as of now? Fs minus ma equal to 0. Okay, let me say that this is equation number 1. Okay. Now let's go back to our figure, which I'll draw over here once again. Okay, so mass which is in the displaced condition and mean position was over here, and there is a spring which I have not drawn over here, and we are saying that this is what is Fs. Okay, so now let's try to relate this Fs to the displacement. Okay, so we know that Fs will be proportional. So spring always gives the force which is opposite to the displacement, because spring is an element that is resisting any kind of displacement into it. Spring doesn't like to get displaced. Okay, so if you try to extend it, it will oppose that extension. If you try to compress it, the spring will oppose that compression as well. Okay, so whatever be the x value, okay, so either you extend the spring or you compress the spring. Spring will always offer the force, okay, which is trying to push it or compress it in the opposite direction as that of this. Okay, so this will Fs will always be negative of that of x, and it will be proportional to the x, and that proportionality constant is k, which is stiffness. Okay, so for 1 unit of x, how much amount of force is required? That's what is the k. Okay, and as this equation is telling us, Fs and x are always in the opposite direction. That is what is the nature of the spring. Okay, so if x is negative, then the spring is compressed. Okay, so in that case Fs will be like this. Okay, in this case x is positive and spring is extended, and that's why Fs is negative. Okay, so here again you don't have to explicitly write down sine of x and sine of Fs. Sine of x and sine of Fs is already there. If you put x as plus 2, accordingly you will get Fs as a negative value. If you put that x as minus 2, you will get Fs coming out to be a positive value. So Fs will be negative here, Fs will be positive here. Okay, since x is positive here, Fs will be negative. Since x is negative here, x will be positive. Okay, so this thing is taking care of it. You don't have to ensure writing down these signs separately of that of x and Fs. It's there in it. Okay, so this is the equation which is governing relationship between Fs and x. We already know what is the relationship between Fs and a. So what we'll be doing is we'll be putting, let me name this equation, this is equation number 2. So we'll be writing down this equation 2 in equation 1. We'll be replacing Fs from the positive in this case, since x is negative. But these equations, as I said, are indifferent to the signs, so this will hold, and hence mx double dot, the final equation that we are writing, so let me write it down neatly. So mx double dot plus kx equal to 0, this will hold.